Yeah, keep whispering because we're live and everything. It's totally fine. I don't care. Hey, everybody. It's Friday. It's the Office Hours Show, Friday edition. Alex and I have been having a blast for the last few minutes with Craig and Chris. They're in the green room right now, which you can hear them anyway if they want to talk. Hey, guys. You can't see them yet. This is the Office Hours Show. And we've had a little bit of fun getting everything put together for this. So let me get through a little bit of sponsorship and introductions before I talk about the awesome people we're going to be interviewing today. This program is brought to you by Wirecast. It's the software we're using, and when it's not crashing on us, we really like using it. Also, by our little production company, Hang 3 Productions. We're the people running this show, and if you're interested in learning how to do productions like this, get in touch with us. This is what we do. We'd also like to thank Todd LeBeau, because Todd makes all of our graphics and helps out a lot of people, and he's an awesome guy. And without Todd, we wouldn't have anybody really interacting with us in the audience most of the time. So thanks, Todd. The people, the guys, the awesome individuals that we are talking with today, Craig Chamberlain, Jesus, I screwed up your names already. Craig Chamberlain and Chris Keyworth. These guys actually earn a living on YouTube, and we're going to find out how in the world they do that, how they've gotten this far, what they're doing now that they've changed some things and they've made some adjustments. We're just going to find out a lot about them. They're really experienced in the YouTube world. Very much looking forward to talk to them. First off, here they are in this camera, which is supposed to be Alex, and this is what happens when things don't get set right. So let's just
dude, that intro was so classic.
Was it? That's typical.
No, it was the whole when it's not crashing on us, we totally love using it.
Well, I figured I'd let Wirecast know that things are not quite as great as they should be. 1 second, guys.
Okay.
I start the show. This is supposed to be a pinnacle example of how Alex and I really know what we're doing. And the biggest issue that I have is trying to resolve...
Dude, Infinite Us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed it.
The biggest issue that I have is when the system crashes, the one thing you can't redo while everybody sits there and stares at you, the one thing you can't fix fast is the shots. There. Now we have everybody together. So, hi, everybody.
Everybody stare at us. I like the other shot better.
Which one? Do you want the here? You like this one?
One of just us.
Right. This will be the show today, everybody. We're just going to stare at these two while we ask them questions. All right? So let me do your real introduction, guys. That's what this was supposed to be.
Oh, sorry.
Here.
Sorry.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm good. These guys are hilarious, so they're making my life better. I've been working on a lot of papers recently, so my life has been very boring. So
yes, it has been.
Today should make it a little bit better.
All right. Well, we're going to pretend they're not even on right now. We're going to say this. Everybody, these guys are Craig and Chris. They do the Craig and Chris show. You also have the Craig Chamberlain, the PCM Tech Help Show, except you renamed that, right? Recently? Or is it still called?
Yes, it is. It is now CraigTheTechTeacher.com.
CraigTheTechTeacher.com. So I'm just going to read what you guys have bothered to put in your plus profiles. Craig Chamberlain, the PCM Tech Help Show, Craig the Tech Teacher, teams up with Chris Keyworth, Mastodon Productions, to create a unique internet entertainment experience. Well, that would be the Craig and Chris Show, right? Then you also have this. The Craig and Chris Show is a place where Craig and Chris discuss what interests them and hopefully interests you. From video games to movies, join in the discussion and let's have some fun. Having watched your shows, I could say that is exactly what you do. And then I just want to read from personal profiles before we actually talk to them. Craig Chamberlain, geek, gamer, movie maker, YouTuber, giffer, dad, pluser, sharer. And then his last statement is, so circle me and subscribe already. I completely agree with that mentality. Alex and I blatantly ask for that all the time. Chris Keyworth, I'm a video producer, graphic designer, YouTube content creator, gamer, movie buff, and all-around geek. We love all-around geeks. Awesomeness. So,
all around.
I mostly copied off you.
There's your introduction.
All around.
There's your introduction, and now we're all here in the same shot. Hi, guys.
Hi. Well, now I feel like everybody knows us, but I barely know you. I'm kind of
That's how these things work. We
I'm
get to
kind of out there now.
stay anonymous.
Nobody knows who
It's
the
not
hell
like
Alex
it's
and I are.
public knowledge or nothing. Put all over social media.
You realize that just having you guys on our show has done more for our viewership than anything else we've ever done. This is how much people don't know who Alex and I are. Okay, so we really appreciate having you on here. The draw has been immense. Alex, I don't know who's out there. Do we actually have people commenting and such yet?
Yeah, we do. Most people were having they were like, I don't see anything, even with my 10 minutes, guys, 10 minutes. But now they seem to be coming in. Jacob Williams says, hey, Chris, what did Warren Jeffs say when he was arrested?
What?
Do you know that one?
No. Next question.
Sorry, Jakob Bill. We do not know the answer to that question.
All right, we'll see if he gives us an answer. But anybody out there, if you have any comments or questions, ask them in the event page. I also have the YouTube event page open, so you can ask them there, and I'll try to get them in as soon as I can.
Awesomeness. All right. I know you guys don't know much about us. We're people that run a show. This is not about us. We're interviewing you, so no more questions.
Okay.
My bad.
You can control that she's crying.
You're right. I agree. I've thoroughly embarrassed the entire brand. Now I have to rebrand again.
Yeah, so what are you going to pick this time? I mean, geez.
Ready already.
The Chris and Craig Show.
I like it.
All right, so here's my questions. All right.
Okay.
So how did you guys get started?
How did we get started?
You can start with anything. Because I know your show's been running for a long time, right? So longer than the Craig and Chris show, right?
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
We did video stuff in high school and college. So
when did we get
I guess
started?
it's kind of a continuation of that. The actual YouTube show started in September, I think it was.
Yeah, I would say that I did Ask the Tech Teacher, or whatever you want to call it, till
He doesn't even know.
like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
And then we finally talked about doing a show because we wanted to do videos because we have actually movies that we're too embarrassed to upload to YouTube.
Those are the college ones, yes.
Those are the college ones, which I'm actually trying to get the confidence to actually eventually put those up.
Okay.
But we did videos beforehand, and we did some movies that were comedic in a sense, and so.
Then I did some graphics for you last year.
Right.
Is when I started doing some other stuff for his show.
And then I'm like, this show's too serious. I want to do something more fun. I think that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah.
And then so we started kind of like brainstorming, and then we did the Craig and Chris show where we talk about stuff that interests us.
Yes, you
Hopefully
do.
it just,
All right.
And hopefully,
oh my God, it's a habit now.
it's a habit.
That's cool. So, all right, so let me understand here, because I'm an old guy. I'm 44. Alex is 20 years younger. You guys are somewhere in between. One of you's got kids, wife, right? When was college for you guys? Was it last year, or was it 10 years ago?
No, we were in high school 10 years ago. We were 29.
I was gonna say, are we not doing ages? Because like I brought it up in one episode, and you said I don't know.
I don't know.
None of their business.
Yeah, we're 29, so.
All right.
We're 29.
College was, I don't know, I think graduated 2008.
Okay.
Was that 2008? I think it was 2005 for me.
Okay.
Was it? I don't think so.
No, you're right. It's around 2008.
All right. So you're 30.
I went to college for computer stuff. He went for video production.
Yep.
Very cool. And so you guys met.
Wait,
in
so that's
college.
why like the Craig and Chris show has such better video production. And like actually it kind of parallels our personalities pretty well. The Ask the Tech Teacher has horrible video production. And
But a lot of
we're
useful information.
but useful information. Once we're working together,
High production value, no useful information.
that pretty much sums it up.
Right.
Good nutshell, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we can we can kind of see that in there. And I can tell you this right now, you guys have done a really good job.
Compliment or an insult?
No, that wasn't an insult. That wasn't an insult.
It's an insult. Compliment.
You have not seen. If you see my graphics work, you know that everything you guys do is stellar. Pulitzer. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I did the jelly roll transition. If you haven't seen that beautiful piece of motion graphic, you just need to look. Chris, you'll probably just do this. I'm doing everything wrong, I'm sure.
The top of his head looked dramatic. That's all we see is we see the top of his head
That's
in
right.
the little.
I forget you guys get this camera view up here. You see the top of my head.
He's got like 18 cameras in his office, I think.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It's cool. I'm not. No, that's awesome.
I would do that if we could.
Well,
If I like editing.
see, I'm a super big geek too. This is what I do is figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
But I like finding other people who have better content because if I start going, and Alex can tell you, I just won't shut the hell up. That's why our show usually runs too long. So.
Us too.
Yeah. Pretty much every time we try to make an episode of something, we are long-winded.
We start with the mantra of shorter this time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Let's try to keep it short this time. Stay on the subject for 5 minutes instead of 45.
That's another one of the issues with the Talking Head shows. But let's keep it going with our questions so that we don't do the same thing.
We'll try.
He's got a valid point.
And I want Alex to ask questions. She actually knows more about you guys than I do. She's built the relationship, right? So, Alex, the next question is, what did they do before they had... do you have real jobs? Do you do anything besides this? Is this what you do? Talk amongst yourselves.
Is this what we actually do?
See? This is good television right here.
Okay, I've got to ask, to answer this question...
We'd like a lifeline.
Alex
Given.
is your
With
lifeline.
To answer this question
Phone a friend, phone a friend.
accurately, when you say we do this, does it have to be a livable wage? Or
No.
does it have to be do we just do this because we're like poor and living?
All right. So considering in this country, most people earn below a living wage. We'll just call it whatever you happen to make out of it. Is this all you do to try to pay the bills, or do you guys also juggle with other jobs in the legitimate real world and not on the web?
Yes.
No.
serious?
I don't. Am I supposed to be serious? Okay. I'm sure somebody watching the show wants some valuable information.
What we're trying to do here, yeah.
No, technically we do not make a living doing this. We're far from it. The show is way too young to have any kind of realistic monetization expectations. It's like 3 months old, 6 months old, maybe.
Okay.
Six.
And we've only
Closer to
been doing it well for 5 episodes.
Okay.
5 episodes.
Excellent.
We've got like 70 episodes, but
But Craig, what's your real job?
my real job is 50 to 60 hours a week as an IT guy for a local small business.
That's okay. So you've got this other job going down here. That's paying the bills and feeding your children, right? And then you guys
Correct.
are working really hard at taking the show. And the reason I asked the question, and I want everybody out there in our giant large audience, whoever watches this later, to hear this clearly and plainly. You don't start up a web show like this and expect to be drawing an audience in 3 months. If you're going to do something with it that takes value, if you're going to make this something of value, if you're going to make this something that can grow a large audience, it requires the time and care that these guys have put into it, that Alex and I put into our shows. But if you think you're going to crank out a hangout show in 3 months and get people jumping in to sponsor it, I just want to let everybody know it takes a hell of a lot more than that. And so
Well, if you want me to get to the technical sides of it, I've done monetization for like 6 to 7 years, everything from AdSense to affiliates to...
wow, okay.
I've thrown around the idea of sponsorships, but I'm not a big fan of it. To YouTube monetization, which is different than the blog-based monetization. And the best advice I could give somebody who's like trying to start getting out there now is it's very difficult from a content perspective to be successful through an AdSense-based monetization platform unless you have some kind of specialty knowledge.
Yeah.
That's really the big thing is you have to find a niche, and like every video you do has to be revolved around like 10 keyword phrases and this specific niche. And that's everybody I've seen be successful in what they do is they've focused on a niche for an extensive period of time. And we're talking 1-2 years
Right.
before they start to see any real return on it.
Right. Right. And so really what you're saying is it's no different than a blog, a website, a business, anything else.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So right now we're only like 6 months into it. I'd say we've started real video production. When did we start season 2?
Like 4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
okay.
So I'd say we're probably a month into what I would say is the real, this is what it's going to be a year from now type production. So we probably realistically going into it wouldn't expect to make any decent amount of money till at least 1 year or 2.
Sure.
And even if it's a livable wage, that varies heavily on the ecosystem and the demand and what market we fall into.
Right. Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sorry, that's the nerdy stuff.
No.
We're trying to keep away
I
from the
know.
nerdy, but
Head of my head.
Alex, what do we have anybody asking any questions from the audience at this point?
Are you looking for constructive questions or just
no, absolutely not.
No. No, let's have something that's fun. I mean, you know. What?
valuable information? What's your debit card number, expiration, and CVS code?
Who wants to know
Yeah,
that?
sorry. What?
Jacob Williams again.
Jakob Bill again.
Yeah. Apparently he does want to laugh. I'm not sharing that.
He wants
'Cause
credit
I'm a-
card info? I can give him credit card info. There's nothing there, but if you'd want one, I'm happy to give that to you.
Same way. We must go to the same bank.
Yes. Yes. The Bank of America.
Yeah.
America.
I also have a James Todsel. I don't.
Oh yeah, James. Yeah, I know James.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how to say that last name. That's epic. As far as I can tell, Chris's real job is buying stuff for his little brothers.
Yes.
Is he stalking you?
No,
Chris has
I
a
actually-
stalker.
This is where what's kind of cool is we have an overlap. I work in production.
Right.
I worked at TV stations and things like that, and I do commercials. So during the week, my day job is making boring video, and then the weekend I get to make fun video.
Ah.
So I actually, work for TV stations.
Oh, that's very cool. So you work with the big gear, like Avid stuff and
Yeah, I don't really get hung up on that personally. I just get it done whatever. I usually use Adobe stuff.
Okay.
Because I use After Effects a lot.
we so need to talk.
Yeah, I should.
But it kind of
I shouldn't
depends on
say
where
it.
it kind of depends on where you work. I've had some where they give you a lot of good gear, and I've had one where not so much. Where the stuff I actually personally owned was better.
Right. It would be
So
in this
that-
case as well. I use Apple Motion like a third grader, and that's where our graphics come from. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Todd makes the nice stills.
They don't care.
I actually prefer the cheaper software in most cases because you know why? Less editing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop it.
You get what you
I
get.
hate it. I hate it.
Let's play a clip here. I'm gonna just cause.
Uh oh. Are you sure?
Okay, so we're gonna attempt this, and I'm gonna tell everybody we're gonna stop when the clip plays and stuff. So
And Wirecast is not going to shut down on us.
we don't know. We're gonna try. So here we're gonna run this video clip. These are what's been shutting the system down. So I think the first one is the Gary Busey clip, just because I love this thing. And this is your work, Chris, right?
Yeah, that's my voice actually too.
Oh, really? You did the Gary Busey. You sound like a crazed man. Excellent. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Golf clap.
If you're like me, you like watching things. Like the Craig and Chris Show on YouTube. It's my favorite thing.
Thanks, Gary.
I don't even know what else to say.
Thank you, Gary.
I know those guys.
All right, so I don't even know if we got all of it because from my end it looked like we got like 4 shots. It flowed not smooth. I hope on the broadcast.
I love that at the end there. He's like
Yeah,
loves the Craig and Chris show.
He does.
that is awesome. But I gotta ask you this: where the hell did the "I hate science" part come in? Why the fuck did you start with that? I mean,
You didn't watch the rest of the video.
no, come on! I don't have time to actually watch your full shows.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I hate science. I think he's mixing up
Yeah.
the two videos.
Am I mixing them up?
Yeah.
Yes, the I hate science was on the one where I was crying on the floor.
Shit. Okay. All right.
We did an episode where there was a study done that says that your gaming talent, your cognitive and all that stuff starts to decrease by 24.
Wow, I'm
And
so
we're like,
screwed.
oh man, exactly.
Yeah, well, see, that's why I hated science.
They were calling it like gamer middle age, and
Now, who comes up with some?
who says
Where
you're
are
old
they
then?
getting the money for that?
Government school studies, like communications departments, my guess.
Okay, wait a minute. Most of the
That darn education system, right, Alex?
most of the gamers in my department want to prove that video games actually have beneficial effects, and there are a couple studies out there that have shown that. But it's if anything in that study said proves, then it's a piece of shit. Because we can't say proof. Like it's like a no word. We can't touch that word because we do correlations. We don't do causations. So I didn't read
Absolutely
the study,
right.
but
We agree. with
She's
that.
absolutely right.
Yeah, we thought it was bogus too. So.
Sorry, did we get a little too techie on you or EDU centric?
No, I actually approve that message.
Well, and you saw my message or my little comment on that. I think that's you got two things going on. I mean, you got the old gamer thing, and then there was some comment you made about gaming, being bad. Everybody always does the games are bad thing that comes out, and I was like,
Yeah.
my 8-year-old stepson, who was a super fast ADHD, and we refused to put him on freaking drugs. He sat down to WoW at 8, and by 10, he was leading raids with 30-year-old dudes and telling them where to go and what to do. He was typing faster than I've ever seen a human being type. He was multitasking, managing the raid and the comment chat and his homework and some other things. And
Yes, John. Yes. But was he violent?
always.
no, he had drums and karate, so he took care of his physical, energy needs that way.
I was being sarcastic.
No, I know you were, but I appreciate you asking because my bottom line on that is like if your kid is doing these things and he's turning to violence as he's playing games, then you're not parenting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Period. The end. You're not parenting. All right. Somewhere the parent has to actually be fucking responsible for the kid. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can do all the studies they want. It's not going to change games. And I wanted.
And they do studies they want.
They can. I mean, who gives a shit? Alex,
They do all of them.
So Alex, being that you're all connected with the whole educational thing, we talked earlier about Noel Bushnell. You guys know who he is?
Do we know who that is?
It's a Craig question.
I do not. I might. I don't know names.
Yeah,
I'm terrible with
All right, you know Atari,
names and faces and quotations and memory.
right?
Anything that requires on-the-spot information other than it being technology-based, I'm terrible with.
All right. I understand.
Didn't even remember my own son's birthday last week.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, they have an app
Damn.
for that. Okay,
You have a son?
they have an app for that.
I do remember I do have a son.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, they have an app for that too. If you happen to forget, all right, you can buy the little tags and GPS tag your kid. Be like, why the fuck do I have a red blip on my smartphone? Oh, I have a kid, right? So,
GPS tracker, yes.
exactly. So Noel Bushnell is the guy who created Atari, the system I grew up gaming on. Okay.
We should have known that.
Yeah, you kind of should.
It's a little before our time, just not much, but
I
it's
didn't
a
actually
little.
have an Atari. First one I had was Nintendo, the NES. So.
All right, yeah.
That was where I was at.
So he,
Shigeru Miyamoto. I think he's still alive,
who?
isn't he?
Noel Bushnell?
Shigeru Miyamoto.
And who was he?
Nintendo.
He's Nintendo.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me finish the goddamn story, okay? So,
No.
all right. We're never going to get this done in an hour, Alex, if I can't finish fucking stories. All right. So, Noel Bushnell is this guy who created Atari and he created Chuck E. Cheese, all right? So he's loaded and,
Chuck E. Cheese.
yeah, I didn't know that either, that he did both of those. I thought that was strange. And then, so he created this website called Brainbush. The concept there, even though I know the name sounds kind of funny, the concept there is he wants to bring he wants to gamify education. It's like, I've seen how it works with Atari. I've seen how it works today. Kids learn when they're playing games. Kids learn basically when they're doing something besides sitting on their ass in a desk, looking at a teacher in front of them. when they're actively involved in the education process, they learn. So, you know, his idea is let's gamify it. I think that's brilliant. So on the one hand, you got studies saying it's making kids violent. On the other hand, you got corporations being created to gamify the education system. What do you think of that?
That seems more like an Alex question. What do you think, Alex?
That's your way of not answering the question, Greg.
No, I've got an answer.
But I will take it. You know, some of the more positive studies of gaming, I don't claim to be an expert on gaming in any way whatsoever. I don't study gaming. I study social media. But the few that I have run into that are positive do talk about this idea of, like, one of them actually talked about how gaming can help you release anger. So rather than creating more violence, it actually, if you have those angry feelings and you go and you play a game, you can actually play it out. And in the study, they showed that those that were taken away from the game early still had that anger, like they had to play it out the whole time. So there is that kind of a lot of my colleagues that do study gaming, they like to talk about it as interactivity, and that interactivity is what makes gaming so different from something like television, and even in a sense doing things on the internet like social media, because you have that interactive action that goes with it. In my own classroom, I do primarily activities because I'm still dealing with like 18-year-olds and 18-year-old boys especially. They're still very fidgety. They're like, oh, I don't want to sit here. So we do a lot of activities, and the movement does tend to help some of them. There's also multiple learning styles. Having your entire class sit and watch you is only dealing with one, maybe two learning styles at the most. There's 4 different learning styles. You're completely missing 2 of them. And learning styles are just different from person to person. It doesn't make you dumber or smarter depending on your learning style. It just means that you're more suited for a lecture environment or you're not. So I think accommodating that kind of the use of interactivity to accommodate those students that do learn in more tactile environments is really going to help, especially at a younger age.
I can attribute pretty much 90% of what I learned from actually gaming growing up. I'm not gonna lie, I went to college. It was great.
Yeah.
90%.
The best part of college is that you learn kind of how to learn. You learn how to structure yourself. That's probably the most benefit I got out of it. Less the material, more the organization and the dedication, the commitment. Especially since I've got a short attention span, it made me stick to something.
Shock.
Yeah, I got a short attention span, Chris. Bet you didn't know that. And it made me stick to something for extended periods of time. So, but gaming was one of the reasons I learned to troubleshoot. It was one of the reasons I learned to diagnose computer issues, because there's nothing more frustrating than a game not doing what it's supposed to do. Computer crashes, getting viruses.
Building that computer for that game. Even.
Yeah, building a computer for your game. I mean, when you get into the actual tech, especially in gaming now, like the kids now are insane. Like I was talking to my nephew who's 13 years old, and he's like, "Hey, I need your help with something. Can you come over and help me with this?" And he was setting up, and if you know anything about technology, he was setting up port forwarding through a dual layer NAS.
Whoa.
Damn.
And
13?
And he was halfway there. Like he was almost there. And I'm like, dude, this is like third year college. Maybe even outside of college and Cisco certification material that you're trying to do at 13 years old. Now, actually, my solution was to tell him there's an easier, better way to do it. And so I fixed that part of it. But the fact is he was just trying to set up his own Gary's Mod server.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
You know Gary's Mod
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, it's just insane.
See, now for me with school, elementary through high school, I was so average, and I'm more of a visual person, and so I would say that I would think that if you could incorporate something more visual, it would be good, because traditional learning was difficult for me because I get bored. But as soon as I got to college and it was more what I wanted to take, it was more the art histories and the 3D design and things like that, I did so much better. just because I tend to learn even math and stuff. I tend to learn. I have to see it versus being lectured at.
And now that you mentioned it, Alex, all the stuff I remember, all the memories I have, I think all of them are like inside of a video game. I remember video games better than I remember college.
Okay.
That's making me feel really
Maybe they're on to something here.
See, in a lot of my college classes, because it was production, was a lot of get up and do it.
Right.
So I definitely think adding more
Hands-on.
activity, more visualization would be a good thing.
Excellent. Have you said great answers, guys? Thank you. I mean, I like hearing those things, and I think coming from my generation, what I've seen happen with the education system is, I don't know, kind of the destruction of it. I've watched it get defunded and defunded over the last 20 years as more money has been shuffled into other things in politicians' pockets and less actually goes to education. And what I've seen happen with the web, what I've seen happen in this beautiful space we have here is
those politicians aren't looking out for us? What?
Yeah, you don't watch our shows either. I know that.
What?
If you've ever heard me talk about education,
When did this happen?
Well, actually, I have to kind of insert this, and that's actually, ironically, where Craig and I did a lot of. Technically, I guess when I'd say that we started in high school, that was where our school had a specific program set up for. I think it was called the Intensive Office Lab or something.
Shout out to Mrs. Lorch.
Yeah, and it covered things like Photoshop, Final Cut, and other programs that we didn't normally get throughout the school. You had to be admitted to the class, didn't you?
You had to be approved, and
Yeah.
it was completely elective.
Yeah, and it had a lot more funding than other stuff. They had cameras, microphones.
It wasn't funding. This teacher was so good, she went out and
Grants.
got all the grants herself.
yeah. So you guys were lucky enough to have like the equivalent of what I had at Columbine, which was a Leland Andres. You had a teacher that went far above and beyond, like Alex here, who brings glass to the class. She paid for that out of her own pocket. That was her choice, and that's when you've got teachers. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, the truth is, I couldn't afford it. She was lucky enough to be able to, and she decided to do that. She definitely could have spent that money on other things, but she did it because she's a teacher, she's an educator, and
Plus, it makes her look cool.
that too.
Yeah, right? I look awesome. I don't look like a nerd at all.
And I mean, coming from students who were in classes like that, I mean, that's where we went. Afterwards, I went into video, and Craig went into computer stuff.
Right. And
So, I mean, it did have an impact.
let me tell you this, guys. When I was in school, those kind of courses were called shop, metal shop, wood shop, and auto shop. And if you were a stoner or an idiot, you went to those classes because they were the vocational schools. And
Right.
And the concept of the vocation, first of all, is bullshit. These are real jobs. These are jobs that everybody needs to have. These are things that America has lost. And you guys know who Mike Rowe is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Dirty jobs.
So you've seen how he's doing
Only
a big
the greatest narrator on the planet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, no, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, okay, you gotta go Morgan Freeman. Okay, Mike Rowe comes in good second. though.
Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones,
Then
then Mike Rowe. Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right. I'd agree with you there. So he's doing a big push now to like make my generation grew up thinking those jobs were for the uneducated morons. But the truth is, it takes a hell of a lot of education to do any of these things today. It's shifted, right? It's not, can you screw a screwdriver? It's, how to use Adobe After Effects. And go ahead.
Education's an interesting subject for me. I was talking to somebody about it the other day. We've kind of educated ourselves out of the market. Because when everything's just theory and nobody's actually doing anything, it's pretty easy to get A's. There's no hands-on really requirements anymore. You don't actually need a skill when you graduate anymore. And that's unfortunate, but it's kind of the case where it's at. But the whole thing's changing so rapidly, mostly because of Google. I mean, everybody's got like all the information in the world anymore at their fingertips mobily.
yeah.
And I think Alex is doing an amazing job because the truth is that you have to learn to be adaptive now more than anything.
Yes.
Because who knows what kind of assets they're going to have and tools they're going to have 5 years from now. And you can literally at this point, it's a great time if you're around the age of 13. There's almost nothing you can't learn to do at any age.
Right.
Like if you wanted to learn how to do something, you could pull up the internet and you can learn how to do it. And if you dedicated yourself for 3 to 6 months, you'd probably learn more than most people learn in college.
It costs less.
It's just it costs nothing. It's just incredible where we're at from an information standpoint. I think that's frustrating a lot of educators as well because they're having a hard time making their material relevant to what like everybody's doing. Right. And it would be a frustrating time to be a teacher right now, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Okay, First of all, that was a great reference. Okay. Second of all, I
can't remember what I said.
Referencing Alex and what she's doing, and I don't remember the full thing either. It was just a great reference.
Oh.
Have you seen Annabelle Howard and what she's doing with Big Fun Education?
I know who Annabelle Howard is. I don't know what she's doing with Big Fun Education.
Well, so this is just what you said is right. Where the institution really doesn't function the way it needs to, and we can go on to Google, and like Dennis LaBelle says, just fucking Google it, all right? Because if you want an answer, IT guys.
JFGI.
What?
JFGI.
Yes.
Need T-shirts.
We need them. Dennis LaBelle used to have that as his G Plus coverage. It says, I don't know, just Google it. All right? And,
sounds about right.
Well, the great thing about that is that we've got TEDx, we've got edX, where I can go and get a full degree from MIT, Caltech. All of the 7 Ivy League colleges have put their entire coursework on there, and you can access all of it for free. Right? Now, the only thing it doesn't give me is a little piece of paper that some prospective employer is going to look at to legitimize my education. Right?
Yeah.
But I can get that education.
Which is, depending on the career path you're taking, I know a lot of employers are being a lot more aggressive about their hiring procedures, and that's not just because of the politics right now. It's because they've learned historically. I'm from a small business family, but they've kind of learned that
what's on paper doesn't translate to
right.
skill.
It doesn't translate to.
Yep.
It doesn't translate to real world commitment, values, education, that kind of thing.
Nope.
And so they have this. They're actually developing these interview tiers, depending on the company you're looking at. But a lot of times they have more rigorous evaluation processes for the decent jobs, and that's why they say at least 4 to 8 years of experience, because they just don't want to be the ones who beat you into learning.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's
too much of a gamble.
Well, and you just hit on something else, is that they're not interested in developing the human being or paying them what they think they're worth because they need to develop them if they have no real life skills in that particular subject. But something like video work, right? Like what you do, Chris. Quite frankly, and I used to work in the music industry. When we hired people there, it wasn't, well, how good do you know how to play the guitar? If you're going to be a guitar salesman, I didn't give a shit how well they could play the guitar. What I cared about was how well they could sell. They can learn to play the guitar in their own goddamn time. Right? So to me, I'm looking at, I go, okay, here's Chris. I'm not going to look at your resume to make sure that you've got shit on there that I care about. I want to say, where's your work? Show me your work.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly right. Usually if the interview process is, are we going to hate you?
Can we work with you, right? Is your personality compatible, right?
Yeah, because by then I've already submitted my whole. I got all of my stuff would be like on YouTube. Then I'd have links in a digital resume because I know they don't care what I wrote down. My work will speak for itself.
Yeah, I told everybody that I interview, I don't want your resume. I want to know what you think you've learned in your life, and show me some links to your work. If you went to college, I don't even care what degree you got. Could be basket weaving, could be physics. All I care about is you took the time to finish, and that in finishing you completed something that took a long time, and you should have learned how to learn. You said that earlier, Craig, and it was perfect.
Yep.
That's what college is for.
They give you the tools necessary to actually, a big part of it's kind of learning what you suck at. It's like you learn your strengths, you learn what works for you, and then when you kind of get into an environment where you have to learn, which is basically a job, where they're like, hey, we're paying you, so you actually have to do something here.
Yeah.
Right.
You have enough of a skill set, or at least enough base knowledge, to be able to learn again on your own. because you've lost your teacher. Well, maybe not. You might still have a relationship with them, but the job's going to be so specific to what that company does, how they do it. I mean, the teacher can't teach you everything.
Right.
You need to be able to learn how to learn, and that's a big part of it.
Right.
He brought up an interesting point about digital resumes, and that's really one of the major benefits of doing YouTube now and social media and kind of building a profile online is even if we don't make, like we were talking about monetization earlier, even if we don't make money on AdSense, which I'm not a big fan of it anymore these days, you still have built an online portfolio that is presentable to any job opportunities you might have. Plus, you've also exposed yourself to a number of people who are looking for people competent in those areas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could very easily land a job. I've heard of a number of people doing it via social media just based on what they do. And it's because people see the results. They don't really care about the process.
Yeah.
Right.
They see, wow, this guy does good work doing this, and this is what we need, and they just will hire you. They don't care if you have a college education.
This idiot does it for free.
Yeah. We could probably pay him $5 an hour to do this.
Well, hey, we found him on Fiverr. No. But yeah.
So if you're like a kid right now, and I'm trying to push my nephews to do this, I'm like, you guys love YouTube. You love to make videos. Start doing it now. Start building your resume, your digital resume. By the time you turn, 25 or you graduate, if you go to college, when you graduate, if you haven't already landed a job from having 8 years of video content and people noticing you, by the time you turn in a job, you're like, oh, yeah, and here's everything I've done for the past 8 years in digital format, organized. I mean,
Yep.
It's going to speak for itself. You're not going to have to convince anybody anything, and if you do, then you probably don't want to work there.
Yeah, I got to take that and go like full frontal here for a second. Everybody, what you just heard was pretty much the reason why we want to be online and engage. It doesn't matter whether you're an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old. If you're attempting to do anything for business, for yourself, if you're trying to have a footprint, it's not your resume anymore. It's not where you went to college. It's not about how many people have said you're awesome on pieces of paper. It's not about your offline existence. It's about what you put online that the public can see so that we know who the hell you are. This is about building your digital footprint. And it's a new era. And we have one particular place that it matters the most, and that would be Google+. And so everybody can talk about whether it's going away or staying, but right now your authorship is the #1 piece of information tied to everything you do on the web. YouTube being connected with authorship and Google+, kind of a no-brainer. Video being the top tier medium for disseminating information, kind of a no-brainer. So think about that for a second. Doesn't matter what age you are. Your online presence is how we find out who you are and decide whether we're going to trust you, hate you, love you, whatever. So for everybody that I've worked with that said, I don't want to be online, I don't want to engage, I don't want people to know who I am, fine, then don't try to have a business or a career on the web. Go find somebody else to work for, because that's where we're at, right? All right,
just kidding.
There's my soapbox. We can switch back to everybody else here. Get this for a second. There we go. We have,
for the record,
yes.
I want to throw one disclaimer there.
Yeah.
It won't matter in the future. Employers right now still don't realize the benefits of all of the online. Moving forward, a lot of them are catching on to the fact that you can have that. But some employers are still terrified of the internet.
Yes. Well.
And so this whole idea of like the resume has a URL. What's a URL?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still good to be able to build a resume in the traditional sense, but that's where everything's moving.
Yeah.
At the very least, especially when you made mention of authorship.
Yeah. I know.
And if you really want to go in the real nerdy nitty-gritty detail on that, look up David Amerland and Google semantic search.
So you don't know how much we spend time talking to David, do you?
Oh, okay. You spend a lot of time talking.
So just so you know a little bit about my background, is I've been doing web development for about 6 years. I've been in IT for 20 years, and I know all sorts of things about nuts and bolts SEO because that was what I focused on. The reason I don't give a shit about it much anymore is because of the semantic web.
Right.
Because if you're not online and present, it really doesn't matter what you do with nuts and bolts SEO. and companies trying to shift and understand what that means. This year you are going to see the big mass entry of big box brands and everybody else into Plus, and they're going to try to run it just like they've done Facebook and everywhere else, and it's going to be a giant failure. So
yes,
you're smiling, Craig. You've got this big eye.
I'm laughing about
He's making fun of the fact that I have no idea what you just said.
Chris is, I was just telling you, that's why I told you in the green room. I was like, you gotta be very careful about the nerdy stuff. If we can talk that out, buddy, me and you, I could do it for hours.
All right, we will. Here's what I want to do.
I just don't want to be rude to him.
Well, that's how it worked, and like embracing the technology that Google has made available that's how we work. I do the art stuff. I pack it into Google Drive and I send it to him.
Right.
He does all the technical internet stuff.
We do all of our production on. Actually, technically, a lot of it we've done on the cloud.
Nice.
We moved away from that because
Took a while.
The upload of high definition video was a little longer than we would have liked, but that'll change.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing what you can do collaboratively, and Google Plus opens a lot of opportunities for that too. And this technology is in its infant stages. Like, this is so small compared to the long term potential. I mean, I was talking to. Who was I talking to the other day about this? Can't remember. I said, but it's going to be to the point where you wake up in the morning and you sit in front of a computer and you're collaborating on a project with people from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going to be your job.
Do that now today. I mean,
you can do it now today, but it's going to be so like deeply integrated into everything that it's just going to be a natural process. Like right now, there's a lot of like hoops you got to jump through. There's limitations of bandwidth and video and it's literally going to be like sitting down in front of somebody and having a real conversation with them, kind of like we are right now. I mean,
pretty much, yeah.
But on a much more
we're
personal
cutting edge.
Very true.
Yes.
So I'm going to rush through because I know Alex has to get somewhere. You can't tell, guys, but she's dressed to the nines, and she's got some award thing to go to at the college, and I want to get to something that's
deserve
really,
it.
She does.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm going for political purposes. There are a lot of politics in teaching and becoming a graduate student.
When did that happen?
I know, right? I was like, what? I gotta go to this stuff. All right.
So let's
might as well look good
Well,
while
good
I
luck.
do.
Let's take just a couple minutes before we have to end this. If we have time, we'll run the other videos, but I want to talk about this. I want to talk about Patreon. Okay. So we didn't really get a chance to talk too much about the different shows here. I blew the entirety of the questions, but this is something you just did recently, and at the time I took the picture, I think I was patron number 2, and it doesn't look very impressive to have 4 here. But tell me about how you did. What made you decide to go this route? Tell us.
Is that a correct question?
That is definitely a great question.
Okay, now here's the thing. You can monetize your website, your blog in a million different ways. We talked about it briefly in the show. I'm a huge fan of Chris Pirillo. He's been doing his content for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always a big fan of him because he was himself. And that was kind of my big thing, too, is I was always really big on it. Way ahead of his time in respect to what Google Plus is embracing now as far as authorship is concerned.
Yes.
He was talking about it conceptually in building community probably 10, 15 years ago at conferences. And he said basically we're walking Venn diagrams. We're circles of interests that intersect. And it's like kind of creepy, actually, how close to home he was hitting it.
Yeah.
But the problem with right now the monetization platform is it hasn't caught up to community. Okay? So it doesn't reward you based on helping out a community or a specific group of people in that respect. It only rewards you based on the Google algorithm, which focuses on a specific niche of monetization. So you have a couple choices if you want to build a website and actually keep it functioning, keeping it paid for. You can focus heavily on the niche and really focus with laser precision. And yes, you can help a lot of people that way, but only that niche.
Mm-hmm.
Same with affiliates. You could focus heavily on a specific affiliate. I recommend not being too broad with that if you want to do affiliates and promoting a specific product or service. But as you said, everything's going kind of this social framework, and I felt Patreon really is the only, in my opinion right now, it's the only one that kind of addresses the issue of social from a monetization platform, because it integrates community with the platform. And basically, if they don't know what it is, I don't even know if you know what it is.
I know what it is.
Okay, well, basically the idea is your community, they give pledges, $2 up to however many dollars a month.
Yeah.
And then they can, they pledge that much money, and then you give them benefits back. You give them an idea of where the show's going, what your direction's going to be, and then based on whatever tier they donate at per month, you can either, share their posts on Google+, do a video just for them,
Right.
or in my case, I have like a special VIP treatment I give them, so if they have questions, tech questions and stuff, they'll get my priority attention, things like that.
Mhm.
So let me ask you about that, because I'm getting all these notifications from you now. Okay. Now.
The Patreon ones,
yes,
right?
Yes. So within Patreon, is it designed to help you moderate the community information? Are you like are you using that system to publish to Plus? How are you?
No, it integrates with all the most modern publishing platforms is what it does. Works very similar to like a news feed on Facebook or Google Plus, where I'll click Plus as a creator and I'll say this is my new piece of work. So in other words, this is a new content I've created. Then I can specify what level of patrons get to see that work. So I can do patron-only content.
Okay.
Or I can just say this is for patrons only, or I can say this is public. But the video is uploaded to YouTube already, or it's already a post on Google Plus or something. I'm just pinging it out to my patrons as an exclusive piece of content where they can give you their feedback or.
But it creates
the direction of the show.
Okay, but that system. Okay, so this is brilliant because honestly, I just seen it. I haven't even created an account yet. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in there and fiddle with it, but I don't have time. So it helps. So it creates the filters for you. You're like, basically, people pay just sign up for their monthly subscription, and they're already segregated out so that you can say, all right, this stuff is going to these people only. They
Yes.
take care of that for you.
Yes, but I mean, obviously, you want to make sure you're doing that right, because if it's a private video on YouTube, you have to share it you publish it as a private video, and as you know with private videos, you probably know this, you
Right.
have to give them the URL, right?
Right.
And so what you can do is you can take the private URL and share it just to your patrons.
Right. So
They get to see it because they get the URL, but everybody else who's publicly watching your channel won't get to see it. So it's a patron only.
Right. So you have to drop the information into the thing when you post, but you're posting it through Patreon because it's filtering to the right group, right?
It's kind of a two-tiered publication, right?
Yeah.
You can basically see who sees your patron post in patrons.
Right. That's cool. I mean, that's it facilitates something that was desperately needed, right? Like you said.
I agree. I think Chris Perlow's really successful with it. He's got a really, really tight community, a lot better community builder than I am, and so I'm still learning. But I have high hopes for it. I'm a lot more optimistic about it because I can focus on them now instead of Google and instead of affiliates.
That's what I wanted to hear. Shit,
Yeah.
We can end the show right now. I mean, we're not dissing Google. We're not dissing affiliates.
Right.
It's just everybody knows passive income from monetization is squat. Doesn't mean shit. There's not enough there to survive. And if you're going to pander to affiliates and sponsors, that's one thing. But that game can get tricky and it sucks. And we don't want, you don't want your content to be, you don't want the quality of your content to be sponsor dependent. You want the content to be the content, and you want patrons to decide what that is and what level they want it at. And, it's left to your ability to grow that community, period, the end.
Right. Yeah, it eliminates the whole middleman process of monetization, which, I said I hate editing, right?
Yes.
You know what I hate more than editing?
You've said that before.
You know what I hate more than editing?
Money?
Business.
Yeah, me too.
The whole business part of this creative process is a nightmare.
I agree.
And everybody's like telling me, Craig, if you just did this, I'm sure I would. I'm sure I'd make all kinds of money, but I hate doing that.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then it'll cease to be fun to me, and then I'll cease to be making content anymore that's worth a crap, and then
Yeah.
it'll just flip over upside down on itself and be a freaking nightmare.
Agreed.
I've done it.
Agreed.
I've done it. How many times have I done it? I'm calling you like on a weekly basis, like, this sucks. And then the next day I'll call you, this is awesome. The next day I'll call you, this sucks.
It is funny with content creators because you can almost tell their mood by what they put out that week.
Oh my God.
They're not doing well this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex, does this sound familiar at all?
I was gonna say,
This is awesome.
Yeah, every morning I wake up and like, I wonder what John's gonna be in. What kind of mood is John gonna be in today? Let's find out.
Well, I think it's an awesome thing for creators in general, not just Patreon, but YouTube and Google Plus. These platforms it's incredible what you can do. We talk about it regularly. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, we can compete with the HBOs and the,
Yep.
I mean, not on a marketing standpoint, right? But for people's attention.
Yeah, and the level of production you're capable of doing from a laptop in a basement is just so incredible.
Yeah, Hey, Alex, but is there anybody out there asking questions? And if not, do you have anything you want to ask these guys specifically?
I do have actually 2 questions. One comes from Jacob again. What are your viewer demographics, Craig and Chris? He prefaced that with serious question. What are your viewer demographics?
That's good. That's one of my questions too. So if you guys know,
Jacob, Bill. It is a good question. Here's the problem with our demographics, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know if I've told you this.
You have.
They have jobs.
Yeah.
So when you're monetizing a platform based on views, and the people who like your show have jobs,
Yeah.
they can't sit at home and watch it on a loop all day long like most of the teenagers doing Minecraft videos. They'll make it halfway. Maybe you even said earlier, John. They'll make maybe 5-10 minutes into the video. They're like, this video was awesome. I'll comment on it, but now I got to go to work or I got to take care of the kids. It's pretty much between the ages of mostly 30 plus. It's mostly 30 to 50 is where our biggest demographic is.
Wow. Okay.
And that's for my tech show and for our other show.
Wow.
We have stragglers here and there.
Basically grown-up gamers,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I think is our big...
grown up like tech geeks.
That too.
So
All right, let's run this clip real fast. I want to run this clip real fast. I don't think I did earlier. So let's go through the old gamer clip fast. I just want to show
This
you.
is
Okay.
Craig. He finally got his family of the house is settling in for a
Although
nice
I
evening
can't
of
tell if
gaming.
it's actually playing or not.
But he's about to find out that his heyday is long done. He's far too old to be good at gaming anymore. Look at him crumble to the ground like the big gaming loser he is. You suck at gaming because you're so old.
That was sobering, Craig.
Oh my god. I hate science.
I hate science too.
I hate science. It needs to stop.
It's a scientific fact that you hate science.
It is. It can be tested and sampled.
All right, I think that was the one where you say you hate science.
I still hate science for that.
Why?
Still mad at science for that.
For what? Oh, just for the report, just for the statistics? Is that what you're hating science for? Is that?
He actually thinks I hate science.
No. I know you're full of shit. I'm actually trying to figure. I really, literally couldn't figure out why you said that statement after the gamer thing. I was just like, all right.
it told us we were old.
It told us, yes, I hated it because we were over the hill. We've reached our midlife, our over the hill gaming age.
Oh, all right. I
We
get
hate
it.
science because they would go through the trouble to do something like that to us.
Yeah, there's
And
a
somebody
great
in
reason.
our taxpayer dollars probably paid them to go through the trouble to figure out, to tell us we're old.
That's
tell us
okay.
that.
There's the
Tell us
real
we're-
reason.
Thank you. We didn't already know that, science.
Yeah. That's a thank you. In other words, our tax dollars are going right now for a lot of people to discover the obvious.
It relates to our demographic. I think our demographic is the gamer who used to be good
Yes.
and now gets chewed out by 12-year-olds and doesn't really know what to do with it. So then we go to bed ready for work thinking, how am I getting beaten by a 6-year-old?
In other words, Alex,
He
your
said horrible
students,
things to me.
your students will not get our show.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess
But-
not.
Well, my nephew watches it. He's like, it's all right. You guys should do more gameplay videos. I'm like, we have jobs.
Yeah, but you should be more like PewDiePie. I mean, look at the money he's bringing in. If you would only sell out completely. Come on.
Well, yeah.
That's a generational thing. PewDiePie was there at the right time, man. Those early guys, they struck gold. They struck it early. Talk about jumping on an opportunity.
Yeah.
And really, honestly, good for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
that is not the traditional story. That's the fairy tale story.
No, I agree. I agree. And you know, like you said, right time, right place. Mystery Science Theater 3000, right time, right place. PewDiePie is doing the same thing. Oh, God, if you don't even remember, oh, jeez. Don't
Fist
even,
bump.
Yeah.
Fist bump for that.
you know Mystery Science? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
MST3K, dude. That's why we do gameplay videos.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that was what I grew up watching. I mean, that's my generation, so.
You
shit.
say how lame we are is back when Xbox and Netflix had that party system where you could watch movies together on Netflix through the party. That's what we used to watch.
Yes. Soul Taker. Look
Soul
it up.
Taker, yep.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Alex, you even know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I saw a post recently that they're going to bring it back.
Web-based.
Oh, yes. Yes, it may become an online thing, and I got excited.
Yeah, that is sweet. Because the Rift Tracks was okay, but not as good as the show. I don't know if you saw their Rift Tracks thing. That was something else
yeah.
I tried to do. But
I agree with you.
and any other questions, Alex, that you want to bring up that are like pertinent and important and useful?
There is one, and we're going to answer it quickly because Alex has to leave.
Yes.
You
James,
just get up and walk out. We won't be offended. You have to go.
just leave. Don't even say anything. James asks, how much time do you prepare for the show? I like CNC's show because it seems like some buds getting together and just turning on the camera. So do you guys prepare?
Ish.
Yeah, sort of. This is another thing where we use technology. We use the Flipboard. And so what I'll do is during the week, I won't actually read the articles necessarily, but I'll say, oh, that's something I might want to look into, and then I'll put it into a show prep magazine.
Which is public.
Sweet.
Craig and Chris.
No, I have a separate
Oh,
one.
he's got a separate one. Okay.
And then I look it over the day before we talk. And then if we talk about it, then we make it public on our own magazine. But that's about the extent of the prep.
Yeah. If that's craigandchris.com/flipboard, we'll actually bring you to the
Yeah.
Flipboard that we use. And that's our collaborative magazine, basically.
And usually if it's something like Fire TV came out and we both kind of called each other and went, I don't know.
Then we saw the Gary Busey video, and we're like, we got to talk about
We got to
this.
talk about it. Yeah.
And now
That's good.
everything that's great is Gary Busey approved.
Yeah.
Can you do the?
Me?
You did a good job.
He did that.
I can't do. Gary Busey's hard to do. He's
No.
crazy.
There's a little bit of prep, but not like...
That's good.
Because we don't want to ruin our spontaneity either. Because we're actually talking about it for the first time a lot of times.
Well, and the big thing is like we'll start talking about it on the phone. We're like, no, shut up. Save it for the.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So really your show is based more on here's the general things we're going to talk about, but it's all improv, and so it really relies on you guys being able to listen to each other and kind of play off each other, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we just do what we normally do.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I'm trying to do is make it sound like what you do is actually professional and takes thought and talent. So work with me here.
That takes after, when I have to sort out the mess.
Yeah, the talent comes later.
And then Craig has to look at it when it's sorted and goes, now who do I sell this to?
No, we do have an outline. I mean, that's about as close as we get. We got a list of stuff we want to talk about. Then I put it in the order in which we should talk about it. We do pick a topic that's the hot topic for the episode. We do that. And so we're like, okay, this is the teaser topic. And so that's usually what the intro's about. And so that kind of tosses it to the show, and then we go to...
What we want to do is, like, if we think something's cool or frustrating on the other spectrum, we want that to come across genuinely. So if we're frustrated with this tech that's coming out or that's a rip-off or something, we want it to be genuine.
I like that. All right. Is that your baby? There's a baby somewhere.
Yes, that would be my children. I left them upstairs by themselves.
Sweet. Do that all the time.
Just
mine are all
kidding.
grown.
I didn't really do that. Please do not call Child Protective Services.
It's a little cold, but we left the oven on and open, so...
It's all right. Okay. That's very nice. As long as they have an oven to get into, or I know we got to go, Alex. So here's what I want to say. This has been fantastic. I want to have you guys on again. If you can open up your schedule for another one in a few weeks or so. We've got a lot more. What? Clear?
I'm clear. Let me check my schedule. I'm clear.
Excellent. There's a lot we can learn from you because these two worlds are very different. The Google Plus kind of businessy bubble and the YouTube world where, they're just different. And Alex and I sit in that weird uncomfortable middle trying to serve both markets unsuccessfully. So I would like to bring you guys back on a regular basis and talk more about YouTube and these worlds and things. I think we have a lot we can collaborate on and to bridge these groups. I'm shocked that your demo is really the 30 to 50. I really thought you were hitting a younger base. And so that's kind of cool that you actually have that age group watching your stuff. That's kind of, because you are competing.
We're basically grown-up children now.
Yeah.
That shouldn't,
children.
That should not shock you.
No, I feel that way too. It's kind of awesome. I'm a 44-year-old child. I really enjoy it.
Exactly.
Alex, anything else you want to end with on in terms of education and communication, or should we I'm going to fly this out with the clip I took of the gaming video with everybody beating the crap out of each other in Rome. So.
Okay, let's. That sounds way more exciting than anything I could say. So.
I took that in high school, so I really like that game.
Oh, good. Is that a PC game or a Xbox kind of thing, or both?
Xbox One exclusive.
Figures. All right, everybody. This has been the Friday edition of the Office Hours show. This is Craig Chamberlain and Chris Keyworth. These guys are amazing. If you want to find out who they are, go to YouTube and look them up. The Craig and Chris show. We've also got...
Or just CraigandChris.com. It's easier.
CraigandChris.com, which I want to say is very interesting. It's not actually a website. It's just a domain that links to your YouTube channel, correct? Right? And then you've got, / Flipboard and maybe some other ones, right? So you're using a domain to get people to your other web entities. You actually don't have a website. You use YouTube.
Yeah. Not to make Alex angry, but the reason for that is to, I know she's got to go. The reason for that is to build domain authority before we actually build a domain.
Smart. Again, we got lots to talk about there, but I would say you don't even need the website at this point, right? And owned and operated isn't as important as building the audience across YouTube. So we've got lots more to talk about. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
We will do it again. To everybody else out there, I'm John, Alex, Craig, Chris, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. Well, we won't all see you. Alex and I will see you next Wednesday. Look up these guys. Have a good weekend, everybody.